Okay, people, let's talk about Dwayne Haskins. For those of you that have been following my channel for a long time, you guys know that I'm a big Dwayne Haskins guy. I said when Dwayne Haskins was drafted by Washington that this guy has the ability to be a franchise quarterback. I felt that one day he could develop into a top 10 quarterback. I said this guy has the arm talent, the swagger, the accuracy and the mental makeup to turn the Washington organization around. Okay, I said that, okay? And Dwayne Haskins has been benched in favor of Kyle Allen through 4 weeks of the 2020 NFL season. In fact, Dwayne Haskins isn't even the second string quarterback on the roster. Alex Smith is the second string quarterback. So Dwayne Haskins is the third string quarterback in Washington as we speak today, right now. Let's talk about it, okay? There's a lot to unpack right here. Now, I'm going to address Ron Rivera's decision to bench Dwayne Haskins. While I do not agree with the decision to bench Dwayne Haskins at all, I think it's a bad move on Ron Rivera's part. While I disagree with it, I understand why Ron Rivera made this move. I really do. Okay? Do I agree with it? No. Do I agree with the approach Ron Rivera has taken in regards to developing Dwayne Haskins? No, but I understand it. And if you want to blame anyone for Dwayne Haskins being on the bench right now, blame Daniel Snyder. Because Daniel Snyder was the one that drafted Dwayne Haskins in the first place when, last year, no one on that coaching staff wanted to draft Dwayne Haskins. And guess what? Ron Rivera, he didn't draft Dwayne Haskins. He was not on the Washington coaching staff last year. He was in Carolina last year. So Ron Rivera has every right to come in and say, hey, this isn't my guy. Maybe I don't like him. Maybe I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. Let's move on. Let's bring in my guy, Kyle Allen, and see what he can do. Ron Rivera has that right, okay? Ron Rivera has no ties to Dwayne Haskins. And listen, Ron Rivera, I respect the guy wholeheartedly. Ron Rivera, to me, I think that he's a top 10 head coach. I think Ron Rivera, I've said in the past, Ron Rivera has the potential to turn the Washington football team around. And listen, Ron Rivera has played in the NFL before as a player. Ron Rivera coached for a long time at Carolina. He actually got the Carolina Panthers to a Super Bowl. Ron Rivera knows his football. So if he feels that Dwayne Haskins is not giving his team enough of a chance to win, then I have to respect what Ron Rivera is doing right here by benching Dwayne Haskins, even though I disagree with the decision. Okay, so I've gotten that out the way. I'm going to now defend Dwayne Haskins because I'm going to pretty much throw out all the things that I said right there and make the case for why Dwayne Haskins has just been absolutely screwed, because I firmly believe that Dwayne Haskins has not gotten a fair shake in Washington. I don't think Dwayne Haskins has been set up to succeed by that organization. And ultimately, I believe that Washington's organization is ruining Dwayne Haskins. I will tell you why. There are some problems with Dwayne Haskins at the moment. Dwayne Haskins has not been knocking people's socks off. He's missed some throws. He hasn't been going through his reads properly at times. But so has Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has problems. You can say the same thing about Daniel Jones. You can say the same thing about a lot of young quarterbacks out there. Heck, Kyler Murray, a couple weeks ago versus the Detroit Lions, he had 3 interceptions in that game. He had 3 interceptions versus the Detroit Lions. Dwayne Haskins is a young quarterback, and I believe Dwayne Haskins has gotten a raw deal in Washington. Considering the horrible situations that Dwayne Haskins has been put in throughout his young career, 11 starts is not a good enough sample size to truly judge Dwayne Haskins. I've always said I'm going to give young quarterbacks 3 to 4 years to prove to me that they can be the guy. Rookie season, okay, house money, whatever success happens, okay? Your sophomore season, I want to see improvement. And then your third or fourth season, I want to see a final product. And what people fail to realize is this. The Washington organization has failed Dwayne Haskins from the jump. They just have. Because what Washington needed to realize was Dwayne Haskins only played 1 year of college football at Ohio State. He only got 13 starts in college. What does that tell you? That tells you he's inexperienced. He's raw. He needs time to develop. He needs the proper coaching. He needs the proper infrastructure, and he needs a good team around him, especially early on, to succeed. Maybe later on, once Dwayne Haskins develops, he can become, the franchise quarterback, and maybe you don't have to build around him as much. But as of right now, and based on what we knew about Dwayne Haskins heading into the NFL, we knew this guy needed some time to develop and grow. And guess what? Washington has not put the infrastructure in place for Dwayne Haskins to maximize his talents and for Dwayne Haskins to develop properly. Dwayne Haskins has been screwed. Imagine being drafted by a team that did not want to draft you. Imagine going to a team with a bottom 5 offensive line. Imagine going to a team with limited weapons at wide receiver and a running back out the gate. Imagine going to a team with a bad defense, because last year the Washington football team had a bad defense. Imagine going to a team last year that finished with only 3 wins and with the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Imagine having to go to that team and the coaching staff isn't even fully committed to developing you properly, not to mention you're an inexperienced quarterback that's very talented but very raw because you only started about 13 games in college. And imagine the very next year having a coach come in and not be fully all in on you and not give you the proper opportunity to develop and pretty much admit to the press that, Dwayne Haskins was behind in his development because he didn't get preseason games this year. He was behind because Kyle Allen and Alex Smith know the playbook much better than Dwayne Haskins. Ron Rivera literally came out and said that Alex Smith and Kyle Allen have the advantage because they've been in the system before, and Dwayne Haskins is behind because he did not get enough time in the offseason to prepare. Well, Ron Rivera, what did you expect from Dwayne Haskins? Did you expect him to go out there and throw for 3 touchdown passes versus the Baltimore Ravens? Did you expect him to go out there and dominate versus the Philadelphia Eagles? Did you expect him to go out there and light the world on fire? I think Ron Rivera is sadly mistaken if he felt that Dwayne Haskins was going to go out there and dominate and look amazing due to the circumstances that Dwayne Haskins has been put in. Not to mention, what did Washington do in the offseason to help out their young quarterback, Dwayne Haskins? Did they improve the offensive line? No. Did they sign a wide receiver? No. They signed Dontrell Inman off the streets because Kelvin Harmon tore his ACL. The Antonio Gibson draft pick was cool. The Antonio Gandy Golden draft pick was cool, even though he's a 4th-round pick out of Liberty that can't seem to get on the field. What did Washington do in the offseason to help their young quarterback be better? What has Washington done to pull for this kid and develop him properly? They've done nothing to Dwayne Haskins to help him develop properly. That lies on Daniel Snyder, the owner. I'm not even going to blame Ron Rivera for this. Like I said, because Ron Rivera, he just got to Washington. If he doesn't like Dwayne Haskins, fine, it's whatever. But Daniel Snyder, if you think that Dwayne Haskins is the franchise quarterback, you need to bring in a coach that actually, is going to embrace Dwayne Haskins, okay? Dwayne Haskins has been failed by his organization. And it's a shame to see because I see guys like Patrick Mahomes, coming into the NFL as rookies, not being able to read defenses, being very inaccurate at college, but having the proper infrastructure and the proper roster around him to succeed. Same thing with Josh Allen, same thing with Lamar Jackson, and even the same thing with Mitchell Trubisky. We could talk greasy about Mitch Trubisky all we want, but guess what? The Chicago Bears, they gave Mitchell Trubisky every single ample opportunity to go out there and prove that he was a franchise quarterback, even when it was obvious that he stunk, that he was awful, that he was doo-doo, that he was terrible. They gave Mitch Trubisky every single opportunity to go out there, make mistakes, and try to develop properly. Washington has not done that with Dwayne Haskins, and ultimately, as of right now, Washington is ruining Dwayne Haskins' development as a quarterback, and they are failing this young kid. To give up on Dwayne Haskins after only 4 starts into his sophomore season, and honestly, this is kind of Dwayne Haskins' rookie season, as last year, he was ruined by the coaching staff, but to give up on Dwayne Haskins, that's a lame duck move, and I understand that Ron Rivera has a job to do. He has to go out there and try to win football games, but Ron Rivera has time. I don't think Ron Rivera is going to get fired after this year if the team does bad. Ron Rivera said himself in the offseason that we're going to try to rebuild this football team from the ground up. And I understand that the NFC East is up for grabs this year, and it's not a very good division, but that honestly should imply that, hey, because the NFC East is so bad, let's roll out Dwayne Haskins and see what he's got. Because this division is gonna beat up on itself time in and time out. I understand that Ron Rivera has a job to do. I'm not even gonna knock Ron Rivera for making this move too much more, okay? But in the end, Dwayne Haskins, in my eyes, has gotten a raw deal in Washington. More times than not, quarterbacks are not properly developed in the NFL, and that's ultimately why they fail. And guess what, people? If you put good players around Dwayne Haskins, you know what's probably going to happen? He's probably going to throw for a lot of touchdown passes like he did at Ohio State, because when Dwayne Haskins had a great team at Ohio State, he broke Big Ten records. He had the greatest season in Big Ten history. So, Washington, put good players around him if he's your quarterback for the future. Develop this kid properly. Give him every opportunity to go out there and succeed. And listen, this guy needs reps. This guy's raw. Let him go out there and make mistakes. And you need to figure out what Dwayne Haskins is. Maybe Dwayne Haskins is a bad quarterback. You know, maybe he's a great quarterback. We don't know what Dwayne Haskins truly is, because last time I checked, you don't judge quarterbacks based on 10 or 11 career starts. If we would have judged Peyton Manning on 10 or 11 career starts, guess what? He's a bust, people. He was doo-doo as a rookie. He was awful. Jared Goff was terrible his rookie year. And guess what? Once Jared Goff got the right infrastructure and a coach that believed in him, guess what? Jared Goff goes to a Super Bowl, baby. Jared Goff looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Ultimately, if Dwayne Haskins gets another opportunity to become a starting quarterback somewhere, whether it's in Washington or another franchise, he's going to need to be more accurate. He's going to need to be more consistent. He would need to tweak his mechanics. He's not a finished product. But unfortunately, I don't even know if Dwayne Haskins will get another opportunity elsewhere. I hope I am wrong, because I fully believe if Dwayne Haskins gets another opportunity, he's going to throw for a lot of touchdowns. He's going to, change a franchise somewhere. But ultimately, I don't know what Dwayne Haskins' future is. And I hope that Washington trades Dwayne Haskins away to a better franchise. A franchise that has stability and structure. And a franchise that has good players, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe he can become the successor to Ben Roethlisberger. Hopefully he goes to Carolina, maybe. Hopefully Matt Rule and Joe Brady can get their hands on, Dwayne Haskins. You saw what, Joe Brady did for Joe Burrow at LSU. He worked magic with Joe Burrow. Hopefully Dwayne Haskins can get an opportunity with the Chicago Bears one day, because ultimately Mitch Trubisky's not the future, and Nick Foles, he's proven to, kind of flame out, in the past eventually. Maybe Dwayne Haskins can go to Minnesota. Kirk Cousins is on a bad contract, and Kirk Cousins has looked doo-doo this year. I hope Dwayne Haskins can maybe go to the Falcons or some other franchise that might potentially need a quarterback for the future. Heck, the Indianapolis Colts. Once Phillip Rivers, retires, maybe Dwayne Haskins can go there. I hope Dwayne Haskins gets another opportunity, but unfortunately, Dwayne Haskins' NFL future is boom or bust at this point, and ultimately, Dwayne Haskins is being ruined by Washington's organization. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.